Good morning. I'm Ruth Whaley and I'm here at RiskMinds 2012 and I'm here interviewing Dr. Mario Onorato. He is the Global Practice Leader of Capital and Liquidity Solutions at IBM Risk Analytics, and he's an expert on capital and liquidity modeling. He's also the Honorary Lecturer in Finance at the Cass Business School in London. And so today we're going to talk about his work in capital and liquidity. So Mario, how do you analyze the interplay between liquidity and capital? How do you set about doing that?
This is a very interesting question. I think these two types of risk are metrics that do not lend it to be analyzed simply, because one is analyzed using cash flows and the other one is analyzed using essentially value, which translates to risk capital.
And one is over time and one is a point in time.
Exactly. So we have some difficulties also because if you have a specific liability in cash flow today, you cannot say, okay, no, in the future I'm going to have some money to fulfill the obligation. That doesn't matter, you are going to be in default today. So I found that one possible way to overcome this hurdle is actually consider the opportunity cost of funding and the opportunity cost of the equity capital. And you can try to combine the two to really see how you can build a proper buffer and analyzing the possible consequences in the economic value creation from both perspectives. It's not straightforward, but it's not complex either. So it's something that you need to keep in mind, because otherwise the risk is that you can create an extra buffer if you look at the liquidity in isolation from capital and vice versa. So you need to find a proper way to see the interplay between the two, and the opportunity cost, I think, can be a nice way to do so.
And you can do that on a dynamic basis, because clearly that opportunity cost changes over time as well.
Yes, you can analyze both perspectives, the direct and indirect opportunity cost. So you can do this as using traditional technique like fund transfer pricing on one end, which is going to measure the direct cost of financing, but you can also look at the indirect opportunity cost looking at the liquidity buffer and analyze the opportunity cost of the liquidity buffer, which comes from the fact that they are using reserve for liquidity purposes and not for investment opportunities. So by adding up the two, you have a global measure, which on the other side can be analyzed with the opportunity cost of equity capital, and that's the amount that is going to cost you to be safe looking at both.
And then how can one feed this into an ERM framework?
Well, I think this is really the first fundamental pillar that allows you to achieve this, because you need to analyze the interaction between not only market and credit, which are normally what everybody starts to build in a bottom-up perspective, but also you need to have a perspective on liquidity as well, because liquidity will allow you to be in business, and if you have not enough funding, you really cannot be in the business, and you need to see the interaction of liquidity, funding, credit, and market in an integrated fashion, in a bottom-up approach. And you have a framework today that allows you to do that. And collateral risk analysis will help you doing that, because essentially when you are in business you need to have a certain funds, but if you have a problem for reputation or for some credit deterioration, the first thing you need to do is to put more collateral aside. Collateral change in value depends on market risk. So you can analyze, depending on your specific situation, deterioration of credit worthiness, you need to put more collateral. Or the collateral that you are putting aside has deteriorated because of market risk conditions, so you need enough funding coming from that, and you see this in interaction. So market, credit, liquidity, and collateral actually are the fundamental pillar of an enterprise risk management, and you need to analyze this in a context, and not in isolation, otherwise you're going to have a completely underestimate or overestimate of all the various silos. So
one of the key takeaways then is that you're using the opportunity cost as the glue that pulls together capital and liquidity and allows you to break down those silos of credit and market, which is very interesting. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.